What's up, guys? I'm Tyler Coker, and I'm your host for today's episode of Today with Tyler. I hope you enjoy. The Pittsburgh Steelers are a failing team, which kind of makes me happy to say. But let's get into it and see what exactly is failing and what still has a lot of room for success. We'll start with their key free agents. Joe Hayden, the corner, Juju Smith-Schuster, their wide receiver, Trey Turner, their guard, Terrell Edmonds, their safety, and Robert Spillane, their linebacker. So not too many, luckily, but they're pretty important. Let's get into their offense. It's going to be a rough ride, though, because Big Ben was terrible, and he didn't deserve any of the fanfare he received when he finally left Pittsburgh. Luckily, his play did back up his personality. Terrible and disgusting. They'll be in the market for a quarterback, whether that's Malik Willis, whether that's Kenny Pickett, or a veteran quarterback, since they like to pretend that they're a Super Bowl caliber team who a veteran quarterback would bring to the Super Bowl. There's no promise they draft a rookie, and I wouldn't as a Steelers, at least in the first. They were 30th in yards per pass attempt, which was mostly because they just dumped it off to Najee Harris every time, but there wasn't much hope for revival because their wide receiver core isn't that good. It consists of Juju Smith-Schuster, who is not a wide receiver one, Chase Claypool, and Deontay Johnson. In other words, not ideal. Johnson improved a lot, I'll give him that, and he tried to step into the wide receiver one role this year. Unfortunately, the only real bright spots on the offense, though, were Najee Harris and Pete Freiermuth, their rookies. Freiermuth is a stud of a tight end, and Najee Harris is a great running back who will have success throughout his NFL career, whether that's in Pittsburgh or elsewhere. They need to get another wide receiver in an ideal world, but this world isn't ideal, and the resources should absolutely go to the offensive line. Roethlisberger got rid of the ball faster than anyone in the NFL, and the offensive line was still ranked 26th in PFF's rating system in the offensive line. That's pretty bad when you only have to block for just over 2 seconds. They can't block for run Najee, and they can't keep Ben upright for even 2.20 seconds. And the right guard, Trey Turner, did okay, but their center isn't terrible either. And even then, they were just okay. They were 26th. They need to reset their tackles entirely and get at least one more guard if they really want offensive production next year. Or if they want Najee to be of first-round value, since they did take him with the valuable first-round pick. Their defense is a little bit more of an interesting story. Their secondary was a slightly above average this year, and their unwillingness to fix the corner position during last offseason really hurt them. Cameron Sutton, Terrell Edmonds, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and not even Joe Hayden could hit the PFF grade of 64, so they were really relying on TJ Watt to generate enough pressure to stop the pass attack entirely. Especially disappointing was Minkah Fitzpatrick, who showed the potential of being an absolute stud, but really didn't live up to the hype this year. The rushing defense was literally the worst in the league, allowing 5 yards per carry, which doesn't help that they're in a run-first division, but still, that's pretty bad. Having one of the worst rushing defenses is impressive, especially when Steelers fans were arguing that they were the number 1 overall defense coming into the NFL season. That's a pretty bad turn. TJ Watt is most likely the Defensive Player of the Year for a long time, and Cam Hayward is an All-Pro, but after those two, there isn't really a proud spot in the box. Alex Highsmith and Chris Wormley had workable seasons, but the rest of the box in Henry Mondeau, Devin Bush, Robert Spillane, and Montravius Adams all had terrible seasons. The Steelers are one of the more bleak futures in the NFL if they can't really get it around. And I wouldn't be surprised because they do have Mike Tomlin, who has done a pretty good job with the Steelers so far, but they do have a lot of work to do. So their top 5 positional needs to me are offensive tackle, quarterback, defensive tackle, linebacker, and guard. And an ideal draft would perhaps be Trevor Penning, the Northern Iowa offensive tackle, who's very athletic. Desmond Ridder, the Cincinnati quarterback, in the second. He kind of fits that Big Ben role of not throwing it deep, but keeping it short, but then he would bring an offensive weapon in his rushing. And then in the third, Logan Hall, the Houston defensive tackle. So I would really like to see them progress as a team, but in the end, their division's getting really good, and they are falling off. So with that being said, I want to see what they do this year. I want to see how they can work with not having a quarterback. not having an offensive line, not having a passing game, not having much of a defense either. I want to see what Mike Tomlin can do. I want to see him step up to the challenge and make this team work. I think it'll be impressive, and in the end, he is in a hard division, so he does have that excuse. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the NFC North.